Step 1 foot on my land again, and you'll leave in a damn ambulance.
Keep talking, cowboy. I'll bury your ranch under lawsuits.
Picture this. You're firing up the grill on a Sunday afternoon, the smell of mesquite smoke weaving through the Texas air, your kids laughing in the yard, when 3 wannabe cops in cheap Halloween badges roll up in a golf cart, waving fake citations and threatening to take your cattle, your land, your whole damn life. That's the nightmare I walked into. And let me tell you, they picked the wrong rancher to mess with. I'm Travis Colton, and this is the story of how a crooked HOA tried to steal my family's legacy until they slammed headfirst into my cousin, the county sheriff, in a fight that'll make you believe in justice again. My name's Travis, and I run a 50-acre cattle ranch just outside Willow Creek, Texas, a patch of earth my granddad bought in '53 with his GI Bill money, after coming home from Korea with a Purple Heart and a stubborn streak that runs deep in our blood. This land's been ours for 70 years, feeding my 2 teenagers, keeping me grounded after a messy divorce, and pulling in about $175,000 a year selling grass-fed Angus beef to folks who care about quality over factory slop. It's not just my livelihood, it's my kids' future, the only thing I've got to pass down, the heart of who we are. But 5 years ago, Paradise got a new neighbor, and her name was Cassandra Blake. Cassandra was a 50-something real estate shark from Houston, sharp cheekbones, sharper tongue, always clutching a leather binder like it's her war manual, driving a spotless black SUV that's allergic to dirt. She rolled in when Willow Glen Estates popped up next door, a shiny subdivision with million-dollar McMansions, community pools, and neighbors who'd call the cops if a rooster crowed before their yoga class. They sold it as preserving rural charm, but to them, that meant keeping my cows as a pretty backdrop while strangling the actual work of ranching. Cassandra was their HOA president, hell-bent on elevating property values, and she decided my ranch was the first obstacle to bulldoze. It started sneaky, like a coyote circling at dusk. I'm fixing a fence one afternoon when I hear the click-clack of high heels stabbing my gravel drive. Cassandra struts up, her perfume hitting me like a chemical grenade, so strong it spooked my herd from 20 feet away. "Mr. Colton," she says, slapping a glossy violation notice into my hands like she's serving a death warrant. "Your ranch is in serious violation of community standards." According to her fantasy legal document, my granddad's 1980s tractor was an unsightly hazard, my barbed wire was non-compliant, and the smell of my cattle in a cattle ranch was a public nuisance. She claimed her HOA had jurisdiction over my land because of some shared water rights nonsense, and if I didn't comply, I'd owe $600 a day in fines. $600 a day, while more than most folks around here make in a week. I stayed calm, pulled out my deed, my surveys, my tax records, and laid it out plain. "Ma'am, my family's been here since your subdivision was just a patch of mesquite and pipe dreams." Her smile went cold, predatory, like a hawk spotting a field mouse. "Things change, Travis," she said, leaning in close enough for me to choke on her perfume. "And stubborn folks who don't adapt well, they lose everything." That wasn't a warning, it was a declaration of war. Within 48 hours, I'm getting daily notices, each one demanding $600 for nonsense like excessive dust or unauthorized livestock odors. Do the math, it's over $200,000 a year, more than I make selling beef. Then my buddy at the title company calls with a tip that made my stomach drop. "Travis, someone's showing your land to developers. They're planning something big." Cassandra wasn't just harassing Mesh, was orchestrating a land grab. That night, sitting on my porch, watching my cattle graze under a blood-red sunset, I heard my granddad's voice in my head. Bullies only win when good people are too tired to fight. Cassandra thought she was dealing with some country bumpkin who'd roll over for a few legal papers and a mean stare, but she didn't know the Coltons. We've been defending this dirt since Korea, and we don't back down easy. 2 weeks later, she cranked the crazy up to 11. Hiring, HOA Security Solutions, 3 clowns led by Reggie Tate, a 40-year-old ex-mall cop with a polyester uniform so tight it squeaked when he walked. Reggie rolled up in a golf cart decked out with amber lights, like he was patrolling a war zone instead of bothering a guy with a shovel. "Step away from that fence, sir," he barks, waving a laminated card like it's the Constitution. "You're in violation of Code 47 unauthorized modifications without HOA approval." My cows gathered at the fence, staring like they were in on the joke. Even they knew this was absurd. He demands $2,800 on the spot, or says they'll impound my herd. I glance at his badge, plastic, spray-painted gold, the kind my kids used to play with. While Reggie's droning on about compliance protocols, I pull up their website on my phone registered 3 weeks ago to Cassandra's brother-in-law's lawn service. Their certification, a $40 online course you could finish during a coffee break. In Texas, impersonating a peace officer is a felony up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine. These idiots were committing crimes while playing dress-up, and I wasn't about to tip them off. Instead, I started my counterattack quiet, calculated, relentless. I recorded every word, set up trail cameras around my property, and kept a time-stamped log of every move they made. That afternoon, I knocked on doors in Willow Glen, and the truth started pouring out. Neighbors were fed up Cassandra was charging them $60,000 a year for security. That was just Reggie and his golf cart posse. Mrs. Larson, an 80-year-old retired librarian, pulled me aside at her mailbox and whispered, "That woman's terrorizing everyone, Travis. We're tired of her nonsense." Then Reggie decided to play cowboy. One morning, I'm checking my herd when I hear his golf cart winding up the drive. He's got a chain, planning to tow my 2,000-pound tractor with his glorified lawnmower. I watch from my porch as he hooks it up, hits the gas, and physics wins. The chain snaps taut, his cart's back end lifts like a seesaw, and Reggie tumbles into a mud puddle my cows had kindly prepped. The splash was louder than a firecracker, and I swear I heard my herd snort. Cassandra's SUV screeched, and 20 minutes later she wouldn't even step out, just yelled through her window, "This isn't over, Colton," while Reggie sat there, soaked in mud and humiliation, his uniform drinking up cow-enriched sludge like a sponge. But Cassandra wasn't playing games anymore. She went full scorched earth. Monday morning, a county health inspector shows up, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, saying he's got reports of illegal slaughter operations contaminating my water. By noon, EPA folks are poking around with testing kits worth more than my truck. By afternoon, immigration agents are asking about workers I don't even have. Every agency buried me in paperwork, vaccination records, water usage reports, environmental assessments, all based on complaints typed on Willow Glen's fake letterhead, signed by concerned citizens in Cassandra's corporate jargon. It was a coordinated attack, and it wasn't her first rodeo. I dug into county records and found she'd done this before, forced out a horse breeder, a vegetable farmer, even an elderly couple, all bullied into selling cheap to her developer buddies. That's when I got my first real ally. Margaret Holt, a 62-year-old retired paralegal whose land bordered Willow Glen, showed up with a folder thicker than a Bible. "Travis, I've been watching this witch for years," she said, spreading out evidence across my kitchen table like a detective. "She's defrauding taxpayers, using fake complaints to waste government resources." Margaret had proof: identical complaints filed at the exact same time, always Monday at 8:45 a.m., like clockwork. In Texas, filing false reports is aggravated perjury, a felony that could land Cassandra in prison for up to 10 years. She'd been running this scam on 3 other families, forcing them to sell below market value after drowning them in fines and inspections. Then my daughter, Ellie, called from school, voice shaking. "Dad, kids are saying the FBI's at our house. Are you in trouble?" That hit like a sledgehammer. Cassandra wasn't just coming for my land, she was poisoning my kids' sense of safety, turning their friends against me. I wanted to storm her office and end it right there, but Margaret stopped me. "Don't give her the reaction she wants," she said. "Document everything. Let her hang herself." So I did. Every fake citation, every threat, every staged stunt, all caught on my cameras. Cassandra's next move was pure theater. She organized an emergency community safety summit at the high school auditorium, inviting county officials, state reps, and every news crew within 100 miles. Her PowerPoint was a masterpiece of lies: doctored photos of my cattle terrorizing kids, actually my neighbor's horses, toxic water samples, just muddy puddles, and my pitchfork lit like a murder weapon. She stood there in a crisp white blazer, pointing at my ranch like it was a war zone. "This man's reckless disregard for safety has gone too far," she told the cameras, voice dripping with fake concern. We're forced to seek emergency authority to seize this dangerous property. My blood froze. No HOA has seizure powers. That's government only through eminent domain. She'd just committed fraud on live TV, inventing a fake Willow Glen Safety Act to justify it. The reporter pressed her, "What legal authority do you have for this?" Cassandra held up a fancy document, cool as ice. The Willow Glen Emergency Protection Act grants us broad powers during public health crises. I nearly choked on my coffee. There's no such law. She was making it up, live, for the world to see. That's when Margaret called with the bombshell. "Travis, I checked county records. Their HOA was never incorporated. Every fee, every citation, every action for 5 years, it's all criminal theft." Cassandra's whole operation was a house of cards, built on letterhead and lies. Then came the gut punch. My ex-wife, Sarah, called, voice tight with panic. "Travis, the news says you're under investigation for bioterrorism. CPS says the kids can't come this weekend. It's too dangerous." Cassandra had sent fake CPS reports claiming my ranch exposed my kids to pathogens. She'd hacked into their school records, their medical files, to make it look real. That night, sitting on my porch, the weight of it all, paperwork, threats, losing my kids, nearly broke me. But then I remembered Granddad's words again. Don't let bullies win. I wasn't fighting for just me anymore. This was for every family Cassandra had crushed, for my kids, for the truth. That's when I swallowed my pride and called my cousin, Ben Colton, sheriff of Willow Creek County. We hadn't spoken in years, not since a dumb fight at Dad's funeral over who'd get his old Winchester. But Ben answered on the first ring. "Travis, I've been waiting for your call," he said, voice steady as steel. "I've been tracking complaints about fake cops harassing ranchers for months. Your name's at the top of the list." He'd been building a case from the law enforcement side, and we'd been fighting the same war without knowing it. "Bring me everything you've got," he said. "We're ending this." Monday morning, we met at Margaret's lawyer nephew's office. Wes, a shark in a Stetson who specialized in HOA fraud. The table disappeared under evidence. 900 photos, 30 hours of video, bank records showing Cassandra's $350,000 in embezzled HOA fees, and proof she'd been paying taxes on my land, claiming it through adverse possession. Wes laid out the plan like a general. Criminal charges for fraud, impersonation, and perjury. Civil suit for damages. Media exposure to warn others. And we're not negotiating. Ben added the kicker. "This is the biggest property theft ring I've seen in 15 years. She's going down." But Cassandra wasn't done. Tuesday morning, I woke to find my water tank shot full of holes, motor oil and antifreeze dumped in what was left enough poison to kill my entire herd. My feed shed was worse. Lock glued shut, ventilation holes cut, gasoline poured inside, ready to torch my operation. My cameras caught it all. Reggie and his goons at 2:47 a.m., faces clear as day, committing felonies like they were invincible. Then Cassandra filed a restraining order, claiming I'd been stalking her with my tractor. She brought 3 paid witnesses to court, swearing I'd threatened to run them down. The judge granted a temporary order, painting me as the bad guy. My neighbors started crossing the street to avoid me. My feed supplier demanded cash up front. My kids' friends call me a terrorist. Friday brought the final straw. A private investigator Cassandra hired, Ray Morrison, showed up at my door, looking shaken. She wanted me to plant drugs on your land, file fake domestic violence reports, frame you for financial crimes, he said, handing me a $15,000 check with evidence fabrication in the memo. I can't do this. His recordings were dynamite. Cassandra plotting to destroy me with planted evidence, all to force a sale. Ben was there in 10 minutes, reviewing the tapes with a grin like a wolf. "She just handed us 20 years' worth of felonies," he said. Game over. Sunday was the showdown. Cassandra's safety summit packed the high school auditorium. 400 people, county officials, news crews, all there to watch her crucify me. Her presentation was evil genius. Fake CDC reports, doctored photos, paid actors sobbing about my dangerous cattle. She'd staged a break-in the night before, herding my cows into a neighbor's yard to fake a crisis, then stood there crying for the cameras. "This man's negligence threatens our children," she wailed, holding up pictures of trampled gardens. "We demand emergency seizure of his property." The crowd roared. ready to lynch me until Ben stood up. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice cutting through the chaos like a blade, "you're witnessing a criminal enterprise." He plugged in his laptop, and the screen lit up with Reggie cutting my fence, Cassandra's crew staging the cattle break-in, bank records of her $350,000 theft, and her voice on Ray's tapes plotting felonies. The auditorium went dead silent, then erupted as neighbors realized they'd been played. Cassandra's face went ghost white, but she tried one last bluff. "These are lies from a desperate criminal." Ben shut her down cold. "Ma'am, stay quiet, or you'll be arrested right now." Sarah Jenkins, a reporter who'd been sniffing around HOA scams, asked the question that ended it. "Sheriff, are you saying this entire meeting is a fraud to steal property?" Ben's answer was ice. "I'm saying Vivian Cromwell's under federal investigation for organized crime, and every lie she told tonight is on tape." I took the mic, heart pounding, and looked out at the crowd folks who'd called me a terrorist hours ago. "You know what I learned?" I said. "Bullies count on good people being too tired, too scared, or too broke to fight. But when they come for your kid's future, you document every lie, preserve every threat, and trust the truth will burn their house of cards to the ground." The applause started soft, then roared like a thunderstorm, shaking the walls as 400 people saw justice unfold. 6 months later, justice tasted sweeter than my grandma's pecan pie. Cassandra got 23 felony counts: fraud, theft, impersonation, conspiracy, and a 15-year sentence with $1.3 million in restitution. Reggie and his goons got 18 months each for property destruction and impersonation. Our class action suit, representing 50 families, won $3 million, recovering every stolen penny and sending a warning to every wannabe land thief in Texas. Willow Glen elected new leadership: Tom Harris, a retired firefighter who'd backed me, as president. They slashed fees by 60%, axed the fake security contracts, and started buying my beef direct. My business exploded: 400% growth from customers nationwide who saw me on the news, the rancher who fought the HOA and won. I hired 4 new hands, expanded to 85 acres with settlement money, and set up the Colton Heritage Scholarship, sending 70 farm kids to college to study AG and law. My kids, Ellie and Sam, now bring friends to the ranch for tours, proud as hell of their dad. Sarah, my ex, apologized for buying Cassandra's lies, and our barbecues feel like family again. Ben and I rebuilt what we'd lost: monthly bourbon nights, planning how to protect our county from predators like Cassandra. Willow Creek passed the Landowner Protection Ordinance, requiring HOA verification and criminal penalties for false reports. Our case sparked the Texas Rural Heritage Act, shielding family farms from HOA overreach. Every October, our Heritage Day draws 30,000 folks for hayrides, AG education, and a celebration of community over corruption. Standing on my porch last weekend, watching my cattle graze while Willow Glen kids played with my dogs, I thought about what we'd won: not just my land, but the right for every family to live free from clipboard tyrants and fake badges. Here's the truth: bullies like Cassandra thrive when we're too exhausted to fight. So verify every HOA's authority with county records, document every threat, and never let pride stop you from calling for backup. Share your HOA horror stories below. Have you faced a Cassandra? How'd you fight back? Hit that like button if this story fired you up, and subscribe to catch more tales of ordinary folks taking down neighborhood tyrants. Next week, we've got a pastor who turned the tables on a fake parking scam because he used to be a federal prosecutor. Thanks for watching. Why, let's keep the truth louder than the lies.